Hey everybody, I just wanted to mention to you that we have started preparing the garden. Let me back this thing off a little bit. Started preparing the garden. Worked on it yesterday, dismantling all the big boxes, removing some of the leaves from in there. I may not take out the plastic totes. They may be good for something else, unless I just need one for some other purpose, because they're full of dirt and it's hard to move them. But we've dismantled those totes. I've got more of the metal from the sides and the ends of those. And so we're well on the way to garden prep for this year, even though it's still January. In fact, it's January 5th, isn't it? No, today's the 6th. Yesterday would have been my adoptive mother's 105th birthday. That's so strange to think about what a person sees in all that time. She died in her 80s, but she would have been 105 yesterday if she was still alive. Let's put a picture of the garden up there. Show you all those big boxes that look like beds, they're gone. The dirt is still there. I'm going to shovel the dirt away, put the metal down, and then build boxes and then put the dirt back in it. That's no small task, but we're on the way. But we're talking about the hooks, crochet hooks, and you know, we're talking about how you hold your hook. Do you hold it like a knife or like a pen? Do you hold it like this, which is a knife, or do you hold it like a pen, like I have to? I cannot do it like this. And just, you know what? After we had that talk, I thought I'll just do a little research and see if somebody says there is a right way to hold a hook. And after the video, I did my research, and it says there are two ways to hold a crochet hook, like a knife or like a pen. And it says both are correct. However you want to do it and however you can do it is the way is correct for you. And I'm thinking, isn't that nice when we're all right? We all have different opinions and we're still all right. That's really the way to go. But you know what? It's the same way with type of hook. And you know, I know people have mentioned the Susan Bates hooks. But they didn't mention the type that Susan Bates hooks are. And I thought, wait a minute, don't I have a Susan Bates hook? Now, I have never paid any attention really to what type of hook I use. And I've bought hooks. I bought the Clover, and you know, Walmart has the B-O-Y-E hooks. I just bought the Clover Soft Touch, which are not that soft. They're not soft at all, which is kind of an odd name for a hook that's hard plastic, soft touch. But almost every hook that I own is what they call a tapered hook. And I did search, and I did find that I do have a Susan Bates hook. And I remember exactly when I got it and why I got it. And I also have another hook that is of the Susan Bates type. That type is called inline hook. Okay, first off, this is what most of the crochet hooks that I own are. This is a tapered hook. Let me show you this, okay? This is basically, it just kind of gets smaller. This is the grip here. It just kind of gets smaller, just gradually goes into the mouth of the hook. And most of these heads are very rounded. They have a little bit of a point on the end, but they're not really pointing. They're very sort of rounded and smooth. But this is called a tapered hook. As opposed to this, now this is a 9mm hook size. It's a fairly large hook. I don't have a 9mm Susan Bates, but I do have a 10mm Susan Bates. The reason I got this was for a specific purpose. A friend of mine had sent me some Lion brand homespun yarn. It's very large and very furry, and it requires a big hook. This is a Susan Bates 10mm hook. This is what is called an inline hook. If you can see, this is all cylindrical until it gets to, except for the grip part here, until it gets too close to the mouth, and then it makes a precipitous drop, a very sharp drop into the mouth of the hook. Also, most Susan Bates hooks are sort of squarish off. You see this little squared edge? They have more of a point and they're more squared edge generally. Now this is the only Susan Bates hook that I own, is this 10mm hook. And I bought it specifically for doing the Lion brand homespun yarn that someone had gifted me. And I'll take this and I'll try to get these side by side so you can see the difference. It's the closest I can get to the same size, okay? The 9mm, let me back off here. 9mm on top is a tapered hook. The Susan Bates on the bottom, 10mm. But you can see the difference in the way it drops. Hang on. Let me get over here. I can't see anything. Drops off to the mouth of the hook. One is very sharp drop. The other one's very gradual drop. Let me get that. See that? You can see that from the side there, that bigger hook. That is an inline hook. The other's a tapered hook. I do have one more inline hook, like a Susan Bates. However, it was this Brittany hook that was also gifted to me by the same person that gifted me the hometown yarn, homespun yarn. And you can see that the mouth of it, even though it has a sharp drop, it's got a very sharp drop right here. It doesn't have as long a lead in to the hook. This one takes a longer lead in to the mouth. This one is it's a sharp drop, but it's very short. This is still an inline hook. So those are the only two inline hooks I have. I've never specifically purchased anything thinking along the lines of, is it inline or is it tapered? I never paid any attention to it for years. I just bought what I bought. I did order one of the Susan Bates soft ergonomic hooks. It's a padded hook, and I thought, well, you know, I'm about to do the ripple stitch demonstration for you, and that particular lap gan calls for 5.5mm, and I found one for a decent price on Walmart online, and I went ahead and ordered it since that particular one was free shipping from the seller, and I didn't have to order $35 worth of stuff. So I just went and ordered it, and it'll be here, I don't know when, in a week or something, I don't know. But I thought I'd show you the difference between the inline Susan Bates type and the other type. You can see now on the head of these, you can see that this head is very smooth and very rounded. This Susan Bates hook has sharp edges. You see the edges? It has a ledge around it. You see that? Right along here. So, you know, and that's, again, your personal preference. Whatever you like. Someone had mentioned that this is good for if you hold two strands together. Like I used to make pet beds, and I would hold two strands of yarn together, the really cheap Super Saver yarn, the scratchy yarn. That's a good use for those, is making the pet beds, the round pet beds. This would be good for, since this is a very deep throat, this has a really good grip on two strands of yarn or more. Sometimes you use more strands together. I don't like to do that, and I don't normally do that. But anyway, I can see the use for that in that particular application. But there you go. That's the two basic hook types. So as far as my overhead tripod, yesterday, about 6:45 in the morning, and the thing was supposed to be here today. As of yesterday in the morning, it was still listed as FedEx tracking number provided. It wasn't even at FedEx according to the number. And I thought 9 days is a little bit much. That's unconscionable. So I contacted the seller. And I said, okay, it's supposed to be here tomorrow. There's no way it's getting here tomorrow because it says it's not even at FedEx yet. If this is out of stock, just cancel my order. I've had it happen before where things were out of stock and they just didn't tell me. So later that night, last night, I got a message from someone at the company saying, we're so sorry. Sometimes they don't scan like they're supposed to. Here's a new tracking number. They've located your package, blah, blah, blah. And when I scanned that number, it said it arrived at FedEx at 7:40 p.m. last night. Now, maybe they just scanned it as arrived then, and maybe it was at FedEx. I don't really buy that. I think they just didn't get it there. But, because they took, from my time I sent my message, it was all day. It took them all day to get it there. So, according to the new number, and now it's moving, it's only in South Carolina next door to me, it should be here tomorrow. So We'll see. I'll have that, maybe. Let's just see if it's satisfactory when it gets here. So that is, I guess, coming. I'll believe it when I see it. Let's just put it that way. And as far as the wrong hook Lion Brand sent me, I called them and I waited on hold for a long time. They said high volume, high volume. So I waited. And finally, after a long time, it came on and said, you will need to leave, you can leave a phone message after the beep, or you can email us at customerservice@lionbrand.com. And so I waited. I left a message. Didn't hear anything. And so I finally emailed and said, I left a phone message, but I'm going to email you as well. And, you know, you're supposed to send me this 5mm hook. You sent me a 2.5. You know, what are we going to do about this? And I have not heard back. So I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, I've had a lot of trouble with that lately, haven't I? People sending the wrong thing, or not sending things when they're supposed to, or just not sending them at all. But yeah, I just want to show you the difference in the inline versus the tapered hook. Inline is kind of a strange word for it. I mean, it just is weird. It's just a completely cylindrical hook, except for the finger rest, and then the precipitous drop into the very sharp hook. And of course, the Susan Bates has more of an actual point on it than most of the other tapered hooks. So there you go. Whichever one is you like. My local Walmart does not sell Susan Bates, so I thought, you know, the soft touch ergonomic looks kind of interesting. I'm going to order one of those specifically for this project I'm doing, and let's see how that feels. So we'll take a look and see how that does. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. It's kind of chilly today. We're going to get into some more colder weather. It is winter. It's January, right? So anyhow, I'll catch y'all later. So, you know, I'm going to go back to working on my cardigan, which I was a little bit worried about yesterday. I tried it on, had the collar partly done. Obviously, you have to go row around and around and around and around a whole bunch of times to get a ribbed collar. And I did several, you know, a little bit, so I could at least it could hold together. I tried it on, and it won't even go past my, about my waist, right below my waist. It wouldn't even go past my sides. I thought, what the heck? I mean, I don't crochet tightly, and I'm thinking, what's going on? I did a medium. I did everything. I followed the instructions to the letter, and I was kind of wondering. And so I slept on it, and I got up this morning, and I thought I'm going to look at the pattern again. And I looked at the pattern, and I happened to look at the pictures again, closer, and the collar. Now, I know it said you can go around, you know, you need to go around, for your size, 24 rounds on the collar. That's a lot. And usually if you're doing a collar, it says you have to go over this many rounds. You go, I won't make my collar that wide. I just won't. On this pattern, you need to, because this pattern, the collar itself is so much of the body of the cardigan that if you don't do one big enough, you're not going to have it fit you. So I'm on like row 14 of 24, and the thing is already, without being, you know, without being folded back, the collar is, each side is 6 inches wide already at 14 rows. So now that's after I tried it on. I did a few more rows. I'll do all the rows, and then I'll try it on again, and hopefully it will fit me. It was supposed to be really oversized, but if that doesn't work, then what's going to happen is, I guess, if I do the pattern again, I will do it as a large, even though I don't wear a large. I'll do it as a large because I wanted it to be oversized. I'll do it as a large, and I may even go up from a 6.5mm hook to an 8mm, just depending on how this one turns out, how much too not oversized it is on me. But it looks pretty, so you know, I want to finish that before I show you pictures of that finished. And we'll catch you later. I'm going to go in and work on that some more. Bye, y'all.